This is ContactTalkRadio.com, consciousness in action, and you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to your weekly empowerment hour. You are now tuned in to The Carrie Murphy Show. Ignite the light of your soul. Hosted by award-winning media personality, international best-selling author, and spiritual intuitive, Carrie Murphy. This is your personal invitation to expand your awareness and consciously create an abundant, prosperous, and joyful life. Carrie's intention is to create a sacred space, a soulful sanctuary, and transformational unity community for millions of souls around the world. Following a near-death experience in 1997, Carrie's mission became clear. She is dedicated and devoted to being a pure instrument of the divine, sharing insights designed to expand the horizons of your imagination and unleash your greatest potential. Carrie offers energetic and practical insights to support you in claiming the inner worth, outer wealth, and optimal health you desire and deserve. And now it's time to get started. Let's welcome your host, Carrie Murphy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Carrie Murphy Show. Ignite the light of your soul. I'm Carrie Murphy. I am excited and delighted to be back here with all of you today. Thank you for joining me. I want to extend a bright and a beautiful good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you tuning in from around the world. Thank you for being a part of this sacred circle and listening family. I encourage you to join me live here every Thursday at 12 noon Pacific. The easiest way to listen live is by going to carriemurphy.com, CARIMURPHY.com. All your replays are there. You can also go to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. My intention with this divinely inspired broadcast is to reach soul family from all corners of the globe, millions from all around the world, so we can come together, get uplifted, ignited, empowered, inspired. I really want this to be your empowerment hour, your self-care time. That is such a gift that you give yourself. And if you're wanting to feel inspired beyond this hour every week, please join me on the Straight Talk for the Soul series, my other show that I do on the other days of the week. Go to straighttalkforthesoul.com to listen to all of your replays or join us live. And I'm very excited about today's divinely inspired topic. So the topic is cultivating clear, condition-free connections. Connections that are free of conditions. This is conscious 5D relationships that I'm talking about. And this broadcast and this unity community, as I like to call it, is designed for and it's dedicated to really expansive self-realization, the cultivation of pure, soulful reflection, refinement, renewal, and rejuvenation. As all of us, the intention here is to claim ourselves, our roles as New Earth Paradise partners, light leaders, cosmic crusaders, purposeful pioneers, alive to explore new divine pathways into higher states of consciousness. We're alive to be pioneers of personal transformation. And today, I'm highlighting our potential for experiencing conscious, divine, sacred partnerships, clear, condition-free connections, and richly rewarding relationships. And our greatest gift is committing to our own personal ascension and consciousness. We are here to ignite one another's light in these unity communities so that we can all inspire one another to steadily soar into new expanded states of awareness with transparency, with crystal clear insights, with potent, pristine waves of love, just to really support one another in realizing the keys to New Earth Paradise and unity consciousness, which is what I spoke about last week. So in order for you to be open and receptive to the messages that will benefit you most, let's do some breathing and moving as we do at the beginning of every show to establish a very clear signal so that you are open and ready to just receive the insights that your soul wants you to hear today. So let's collectively intend that with each conscious holy breath, we resurrect the light of the divine within us. We raise our vibration easily, gracefully, and beautifully. And let the purity of this light permeate every single cell in your body, every space in your consciousness. So let's go ahead and start. I encourage you to just breathe in deeply, breathe in the radiance of your soul, and hold it for a few seconds as you just expand that light. And release. Let's breathe in again, a deep cleansing breath. Breathe in the light of your soul again into every cell of your body. And let go. I want you to feel your aura expanding with each exhale and release. And now one more deep cleansing breath, and just hold right there as you expand the light, and let go. And now I really want you to be fully present, receptive, and open for our time together today. I want to encourage you to move your body, stretch your body, stretch, breathe, shake out your hands, rotate your neck and shoulders gently. And I invite you to stretch your smile, those facial muscles, lighten up. You can get around, just get up and move around if you want to. The point here is moving energy. We're going to move any stuck, stagnant energy. Breath and movement are crucial components to expanding your consciousness. And now I want to take in one more deep breath, all of us together. Breathe in deeply and hold. Expanding. And release. Okay, you are lit up, you're ready to go, you're ready to receive. Let's dive in to talk about cultivating clear, condition-free connections, conscious 5D relationships. We have the option and the opportunity to continually refine and cultivate clear, conscious, condition-free connections in our reality. Oftentimes, we develop needs or expectations of others at a young age, in childhood even, that were created to establish a sense of safety or security or protection. But as conscious 5D crusaders and pioneers, we were always going to be guided to become more and more compassionately aware. And I very purposely put that word in there, compassionately become aware of any limiting patterns that are ready to be released so that we create space for new liberating ways of being. 5D, and that's dimensional. You know, we're moving from 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness. 5D conscious connections, they are obligation-free, condition-free, demand-free, and requirement-free. Now, you probably remember many relationships in 3D that had all of those things. There was a lot of obligation, conditions, demands, requirements. Well, to experience 5D Earth, we're moving into conscious connections that are free of all of those things. And so we can consciously choose to be powerful yet gentle-hearted lighthouses, not chasing anything, not forcing anything, just flowing and allowing all that aligns with our soul to remain in our experience, and all that does not to gently fall away, because it will. So any lingering expectations or conditions that we place on ourselves or on others, I had this visual. It only serves to clip their wings, and our wings of light that give us freedom and expansion, enable us to expand. So again, any lingering expectations or conditions that we place on ourselves or others only serves to clip their wings and our wings. So we don't want to do that anymore. As we commit to cultivating condition-free connections, we allow ourselves and we allow others to soar in the beautiful frequency field of unconditional love. That's 5D Earth, unconditional love, where there are no requirements or expectations. It's about seeing the sacredness, and I love that phrase, seeing the sacredness in one another and honoring the divine perfection in everyone just as they are. And they're not going to stay in your field of frequency if they're not aligned with that field of frequency. So you just honor and see the sacredness in everyone who enters your experience. And the purpose with this broadcast is to bring the most divinely purposeful, progressive, potent, pure insights and reminders and activations to support us in soaring as souls into supreme states of sovereignty. Sovereignty is freedom. Sovereignty is liberation, true freedom. And so we can realize greater sovereignty and freedom and beauty in our connections and in our relationships as we expand our awareness. I always say that awareness is the key to alchemy. Awareness allows for alchemy, progress, positive change, and soulful expansion. Because if we're not aware, we stay in very limiting cycles. And so we want to become aware so that we allow for change and progress. And any concepts or ideas or insights that I share here are intended to be divine expressions of empowerment. Expressions of empowerment, offering us energetic entry into expansive arenas of enlightenment. And these expressions of empowerment that I offer here, they are delivered with the utmost humility and compassion. As a divinely imperfect human navigating my own ways of the journey, I'm growing and expanding right alongside you, always hand in hand and heart to heart, not walking ahead or behind, just right there with you, exploring new avenues and new opportunities for expansion. And that is the beauty of a consciously created unity community like this. We're all walking hand in hand and heart to heart. We're all walking each other home into the sacred portal and the purity of our hearts where infinite grace resides. And we can choose to dwell there more and more often, frequently feeling those fluid waves of divine love permeating our consciousness, permeating our choices, our voices, and our lives. And this involves cultivating a practice of seeing our sacredness and seeing the sacredness in everything. And doing so with tenderness, seeing your sacredness, and with tenderness, seeing the sacredness in others. What a gift, right? In order for us to reap and realize the rich rewards of this precious, unique renaissance in consciousness happening on our planet right now, we must cultivate the practice of seeing our sacredness and seeing the sacredness in all. As you see and celebrate your mystical, magical, miraculous essence as a soul, you naturally begin to see and celebrate that sacredness in others. There are no demands, there's no conditions, no requirements with this. It is simply the pure intention to see the sacredness in all. And it's my greatest intention to share and offer and provide insights and divine messages that will serve as activations. And I'm talking about activations of awareness, so that you experience a consciousness revival within you. And I love that word, revival, a rich, rewarding revival. That's what you want to experience here, a rich, rewarding revival of your soul's light and your heart's radiance. Together, let's produce purposeful paradigms of potential and possibility in our connections and relationships. Produce purposeful paradigms of potential and possibility, while simultaneously purging the painful paradigms of the past. Let's do that simultaneously. Release the 3D painful paradigms of the past, and we're going to produce purposeful ones of potential and pure possibility. We can open our hearts to receive the revelations and the divinely inspired innovations to ignite progress in our own journeys as well as progress for the planet. We are here as these conscious creators and divine light leaders, as I like to call us, to elevate and celebrate. Elevate and celebrate. Elevate our frequency and elevate others, and celebrate our creative power while celebrating others. We're also alive to elevate and celebrate our capacity for cultivating these clear conscious connections. And today, we all have the opportunity to, in a very conscious, clear, intentional way, place our attention on creating and sustaining new purposeful relationship paradigms, new patterns of peace and purity. This is all 5D living, peace, purity, purposefulness. And what a gift it is to recognize new potentials, new possibilities, new paradigms that will promote purposeful patterns of pure presence with ourselves and one another's, and seeing the absolute divine perfection and sacredness in each soul, just as they are navigating their own unique ascension adventure, and having honor and reverence for however someone is navigating their own unique ascension adventure, knowing that each soul who enters our experience, they actually offer us a gift. And that gift is the gift of refined awareness. It's the gift of revelation. But it's up to us to decide what those revelations are. Souls interacting, engaging, collaborating, and coming together is actually very purposeful. It is not random at all. We are each playing starring roles or supportive roles in the movies of our lives. We're starring or playing powerful supportive roles in our ascension adventures. And this is an ascension in consciousness that we are alive to participate in. And so we can thank every cosmic collaborator, and I like phrasing them as that, every cosmic collaborator that enters our experience for the opportunity they provide us to see ourselves more clearly than before. Isn't that fascinating to realize? Every cosmic collaborator that enters our experience gives us the opportunity to see ourselves more clearly than ever before and to choose more clearly than ever before. The gift from every collaboration or interaction, whether it be a moment, days, weeks, or years, the gift of that is the identification of our divine preferences and a reminder that no matter what unfolds in that collaboration or interaction or experience, we are always invited to see the sacredness in every journey and in every beautiful heart. That is the opportunity, that is the invitation. So this is all about gliding and flowing with the experiences that come in and out of our lives with grace and ease. It's recognizing how we ebb and flow and weave in and out of one another's life streams. And this has everything to do with meeting one another on the same frequency field. You'll notice that people that remain in your life most consistently are those who are on the same or similar frequency field. Their energy is most similar to yours. And some may come in and out because their vibration is fluctuating. So you may meet one another occasionally because you're lined up energetically. And that can happen with friends, colleagues, family members, or romantic partners. It's really interesting when you become aware of that. And what feels important to highlight is that we need not feel any obligation to keep someone in our field of experience. When we just allow people to kind of flow in and out of our lives, or in and out of our daily experiences like gentle waves, we remain in that 5D state of flow. It's just, you just allow things to flow in and out. And what happens is that brings tranquility, harmony, grace, and lightness to our lives. And those are the components of 5D Earth, 5D living. And I just got this visual image of the sun shining, and it's actually shining right outside my window. But so the sun, it just stands there and shines, right? It doesn't chase after people and say, here are some of my rays. It just stands there, purposefully positioned, a pillar of peace and divine perfection, and it just shines, right? And those who choose to bask in the sun rays will do so. And those who do not appreciate or wish to soak up that sunshine, they just simply won't, right? So this is a nice analogy because it reflects the way that we can realize a steady state of harmony for ourselves as we allow our divine magnetism to naturally and organically draw in the souls, the connections, the relationships that align with the rays of our soul and our soul signature. As those frequencies from us, from our soul, are emanating from us in every moment of every day. And in 5D relationships, conscious relationships, there's no, like in 3D, there's no proving your worthiness. There's no explanations required. There are no justifications needed. That's freedom. That's liberation. That's sovereignty. There's simply, if someone enters your experience, hello, thanks for showing up in my experience. Let's play. And if someone, whether it's a client, a friend, a colleague, a family member, if they're vibrating, which simply means their thoughts, their emotions, their focus has them in a different frequency field, you're not going to line up to play together. That's how it works. And I just had another visual about all of these playgrounds of experience that we have the opportunity to explore on this precious planet of ours. So if someone is feeling victimized, if they're complaining, if they're angry, if they're blaming, you can imagine what that playground of experience as a result of that state of consciousness would be like, right? It might be small, constricted, not very bright, not very colorful. And whether we are in that state of being or we notice that someone else is, certainly divine compassion is the invitation and gift for all. On the flip side of that, if someone is grateful, they're appreciating life, they're feeling blessed, they're celebrating life, they're celebrating others, they're feeling inspired, you can imagine what that playground or playing field would look like or would feel like. What this frequency field of reality would be like. It would be expansive, bright, colorful, limitless, welcoming. And so we all have the opportunity to choose consciously the playground of light we want to participate in. And just by being there, we magnetize connections with others in that same frequency field. And all of this is based on individual moment-to-moment choices. Choice points is what I like to call them, and I talked about that last week. We are only responsible for selecting our playground and our playing field. We're not responsible for bringing someone into ours or selecting the playground for others. Those who align with ours will simply show up, and those who don't won't. So the key here is there is no need to drag anyone into our playground if they're not ready to play there. So the soulful significance of sharing this information is to liberate us. Why? So that we're not weighing ourselves down or exhausting ourselves or depleting ourselves of time or energy in our conscious relationships or connections. As they become conscious, we no longer exhaust ourselves or deplete ourselves in any way. And so that is the invitation here with all of this information. Another important message that I want to bring forth in this conversation has to do with guilt or obligations, or feeling that we must maintain a commitment to certain relationships if they're not aligned. And again, this can come in many forms. It can come through friends, colleagues, work, romantic, family relationships. Anytime there's guilt or obligation, we know that we are back in 3D consciousness. Expanding our consciousness coincides with expanding a state of empowerment. And this involves always honoring our feelings and celebrating that cultivated state of discernment that we've built for ourselves and that we have realized throughout our journey. So if a connection or an experience, it feels like an obligation that will deplete or drain you, the greatest gift to give yourself is deciding that you will not participate in that any longer. Um, Empowerment is essential in 5D, and that is the true embodiment of self-honor, self-value, and self-worth. And it is what will support you in thriving in these higher states of consciousness that are available. This new earth that I talk about here and that so many conscious beings talk about, it requires self-value, self-worth, self-honor. And in the moment that you deny or diminish your intuitive guidance that is always attempting to steer you in the direction of your highest potential, in the moment that you deny it or diminish it, your vibration is lowered, your auric field contracts, and you are in a different playing field of frequency. And there's probably, a lot of other contracted beings in that field. As your auric field expands, so does your playing field. And then you're going to play with people who also have a very expansive auric field, who are a joy to be around and who celebrate you and you celebrate them. And, it's just a joy fest. So true empowered 5D living involves consciously selecting environments. So consciously selecting environments, connections, relationships, and experiences that expand your light rather than shrink it. So we want to consciously choose environments and connections that expand our light rather than shrink it. And what that feels like. When you feel expansive, and when you just want to shrink. And the gift that you give yourself in 5D living is you consciously select new environments and new connections. So when we come together in unity communities like this, we're here to explore expansive states of energetic empowerment. We're exploring expansive states of energetic empowerment because that is the foundation for new earth living and being. We want to create space and expand the rooms in our consciousness mansion to experience 5D paradise. And that cannot occur when we are unnecessarily burdening ourselves with obligations that deplete us. So are you doing that? Are you burdening yourself with obligations that deplete you or shrink your light, or they shrink the playing field of your reality, or keep you locked in a consciousness shack? Well, a state of empowerment gives you the keys to walk right out of that consciousness shack and move into your consciousness mansion and just expand those rooms and wings and gardens. And it feels important to highlight that we all have very unique ways of accessing and discovering the light of our souls. And so it's really important that we honor one another's unique ways of doing this, our unique purposes, our unique practices, our unique ways of accessing our radiance. As we shed any layers of doubt or disappointment in our relationships, we are liberated and free and sovereign, like I said before, supreme sovereignty. But it does require, really identifying if there's layers of doubt or disappointment with others. And that's why I said, as we honor however someone is choosing to navigate their ascension journey, we lighten up. When we release that doubt and disappointment, when we notice others accessing their light or navigating their journey in a different way from us, we lighten up and we liberate ourselves from any unnecessary heaviness or confusion or obligation or any of those dense emotions and frequencies. So this goes back to condition-free connections. Condition-free conscious connections where we connect with the light of another simply because they're alive, simply because they are a sacred being of God, simply because we choose to see that. Not because we are identical in our thoughts, patterns, or behaviors or choices in our unique ascension adventures, but because 5D consciousness is anchored in unity consciousness and unconditional love. And by the way, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to the Carrie Murphy Show, Ignite the Light of Your Soul. Today, my topic is cultivating clear, condition-free connections and conscious 5D relationships. Feel free to listen to the replay of today's show or any of my past shows at carriemurphy.com, or type in the Carrie Murphy Show on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. And now let me dive right back into our divinely inspired topic for today. As we're cultivating a renewed reverence for the radiance of every precious soul, a renewed reverence for the radiance of every soul just as they are, without needing them to be different, without needing them to alter their ways or their journeys. Their light actually shines brighter because we honor it just as it is, and they feel that. So we all have unique ways of thriving, and that is, or attempting to thrive, and that is the beauty of life. When we can observe the unique patterns and behaviors of our loved ones or the people in our lives, and just honor and celebrate their unique ways of finding joy or finding comfort or finding satisfaction in their daily lives, that connection becomes more pure, clear, and loving. Having reverence for others is what reveals their radiance. Having reverence for others is what reveals their radiance. And what a beautiful thing that you can give someone with that. I often share that what we appreciate appreciates in value. And that certainly holds true in our connections and our relationships. When we honor, celebrate, treasure, cherish, respect, and have a reverence for the beautiful souls that come into our experience, whether it's for a moment or a lifetime, that appreciation of their light amplifies, expands, and gives wings to that light. And all of the sharings that I offer and provide here in this sacred circle are intended to be cultivated practices. Cultivated, joyful practices. Not obligation kind of practices, but because it makes your life better and more joyful. Divinely inspired and cultivated practices, they bring greater unity, joy, progress, and satisfaction to our ascension adventures and to our evolutionary journeys. And when we become more clear, conscious, and purposeful in our daily lives and our daily practices, we bring joy to the journey. And isn't that what it's all about, bringing joy to the journey? Purposeful expression, purposeful connections, or purposefully intending to connect with others. It reveals really rich rewards for the soul, especially as two souls come together, both consciously intending to uplift, inspire, honor, respect, celebrate, and enjoy one another. When there is clear, condition-free intention to see one another's sacredness, that's 5D earth, that's 5D consciousness, those are the connections that I am really, really, hoping that we are all inspired to create from this moment forward. And it is such a gift, as we commit to giving that gift to every soul that we interact with. Imagine how that could change our planet. Imagine what a contribution that would be to unity consciousness, which I dedicated the entire show to last week. When our intention is to be a blessing, to be a brilliant, beautiful blessing to every soul we encounter, we become these purposeful pioneers on the planet producing progress. I wonder if I could repeat that. Yeah, we become purposeful pioneers on the planet producing progress. And that's why we're alive. If we're here awake, like if we've awakened to why we're here as souls to create a difference on the planet, that's the way to do it. When the primary intention each day is to appreciate and be grateful for our connections and relationships, this naturally begins to override any old 3D patterns and programs of conditions, demands, finding fault, lack, not enough, not good enough. These are simplistic practices that I am highlighting here today, but putting them into practice in a very purposeful, powerful way, that's the key to New Earth paradise and liberation. And isn't it amazing to realize that our thoughts and our intentions, they are these energetic projections that beam out into the world, and they become manifestations. Our vibrations become visible. Our vibrations become visible. And it's why this broadcast is dedicated and devoted to raising consciousness. And I share insights in a variety of different ways to bring value to your vibration, because your vibration becomes visible in your reality. And highlighting the significance of our vibration with regard to relationships and connections on the show today is so significant, because when we upgrade our perception and our perspective on relationships, guess what? Our vibration rises. And what becomes visible in our external circumstances and connections is divinely enhanced in beautiful, brilliant ways. Everything that flows through me and that is presented to those of you who have shown up and that are listening is not random. It is divinely intended for you to hear and integrate into your experience as a New Earth pioneer and a conscious crusader of 5D paradise. It is inspired, intentional integration of this information, and inspired, intentional integration of the information that is going to reveal brilliant blessings for you, brilliant blessings for your loved ones, for your connections and relationships. Everything that occurs in our external reality is a reflection of consciousness. I speak about this all the time. And as our consciousness expands with the inspired, intentional integration of new informations and insights, what we see occurring outside of us must change to reflect that shift in consciousness. That's exciting, right? Feelings become form. Feelings become form and vibrations become visible. What matters to us becomes matter. So feelings become form, vibrations become visible, and what matters to us becomes matter. It turns into form. Everything that we focus on that matters to us becomes matter. And that's why it's so important to decide in a very deliberate, determined way what matters to us, what kind of relationships we wish to create, what we wish to flourish and nourish in our lives, and what's ready to fall away. The external reality and outer circumstances do not determine our potentials. That is 5D living, believing that the external reality and outer circumstances determine our potentials. It is only our consciousness that creates what we see. It's because we focused on something long enough and talked about it long enough that it becomes reality for us. So just remember that the external reality and outer circumstances are not what determine your potential. It is only your consciousness that creates. And when we come together here, we're expanding that. And as our consciousness changes, again, what we see and experience, it changes. This is living from the inside out instead of from the outside in. This is the original divine plan for us as divine humans. It is our divine purpose to realize that we are the creator beings of this earthly reality, and it's going to be different for each person because we have free will. You get to decide what you want to experience. And it's your thoughts and your focus that are creating everything, and your emotions and your expression, all of it combined. And as more and more people are awakening to their divinity on our planet and not seeing the divine as outside of them, they realize new potentials. New potentials are rising. And that's precisely why we're drawn to come together in these sacred circles and unity communities to remind one another of the infinite possibilities that are available to us as we claim our roles as conscious creators of New Earth. We are alive to awaken and remember our capacity to create and expand the kingdom of heaven here on earth. That's why we're here. So let's intend to bring our sacredness to the surface, see the sacredness in one another, so that together we can create this expansion of the kingdom of heaven on new earth. As we purposefully pulsate peace and purity, as we purposefully pulsate peace and purity, we become pillars of peace. Pillars of peace promoting progress on our planet. We step into the divinely designed roles that we were always meant to claim and step into. And that's what this whole shift is about. People shifting into these divinely designed roles and stepping out of the 3D patterns and programs and limiting behaviors and judgments and all of that. When we commit to no longer perpetuating divisive, defensive, dualistic patterns, that's 3D reality, and instead we commit to being pillars of peace, seeing the sacredness in everyone, we realize the beauty of 5D connections and relationships that are available right now. Not tomorrow, not, when, it's now. So we're here to remind one another and inspire one another to rise above all the division. If you're seeing division out there, you're still playing in the 3D game. And it's okay. I mean, it's an option, but it's not that much fun. The 3D division, the distractions, the disturbances, they're an option, but we can soar above all of that and cultivate new creations, new practices, new connections that open pathways and expand potentials for us individually and collectively as a family of light on this planet, the family of humanity. With our upgraded choices and voices, we can uplift the family of humanity. What a gift of service, right? So as we cultivate connections where others feel accepted rather than rejected, we serve as new earth lighthouses, uplifting the family of humanity. And I'm going to repeat that because it feels really significant. As we cultivate connections where others feel completely accepted rather than rejected, we serve as new earth lighthouses, uplifting the family of humanity. And this is all about ascended vibrations, ascended frequencies, ascended patterns, ascended energies, ascended ways of being. These are the building blocks of New Earth. And this is inspired innovation. The word innovation, I love that word. It's really coming through strongly because that is what we are intended to embody the energy of. Innovating new earth, innovating new ideas, innovating new ways of being, and innovating new styles of communicating and connecting, innovating new perspectives and attitudes and avenues of perception. Yeah, I was thinking of perspective and perception. So we have that ability to bring that innovation into our lives to create new earth. We can claim our roles as these conscious crusaders, luminous light leaders, new earth paradise partners, inspired innovators, and pillars of peace. And I'm feeling guided to highlight another instrumental component for 5D relationships, for condition-free connections. And the phrase that is coming to mind is purposeful praise. Purposeful praise. And what I mean by this is introducing praise, purposeful praise, into every single connection or relationship that you have. And I'm talking about without conditions. And they don't have to prove themselves worthy of this praise. And that can be the challenging part of the invitation for an upgrade. What I've learned over the years is that people rise or fall to meet our expectations of them. And I'm going to repeat that. People will rise or they will fall to meet our expectations of them. So it's quite fascinating to notice the benefits of consistent condition-free praise. As we purposefully praise our loved ones, our colleagues, our friends, our family, or anyone in our lives, guess what? They begin to shine in new ways. They reflect more evidence to be praised. As we see the sacredness in everyone, everyone becomes praiseworthy. Everyone becomes praiseworthy, and not because they've proven that they're worthy of praise, but because they're divinely praiseworthy as a precious soul alive and participating on the planet, playing with us on the planet. So, with intentionality, you'll find that there's plenty to praise. And in fact, you can make it your motto every morning. Today I will find plenty to praise, plenty of reasons to praise and celebrate and honor myself and others in the world around me. Find plenty to praise. As a purposeful praiser, boundless beauty and and true brilliance is going to blossom. Beauty, brilliance, it's all going to blossom in the souls around you when you are a purposeful praiser. So notice beauty blossoming in your relationships and in your connections, in your interactions as you become a purposeful praiser. True light leaders, they love to lift others. True leaders, they lead by lifting one another into liberation. And I'm speaking about being a divine light leader. And a leader is simply someone who knows and consciously chooses to decide the direction of their energy. How are they going to use their energy? How is it being expressed? If and it's typically a leader is to uplift, to empower, and inspire. Light leaders lead their lives through the lens of their soul. Leaders fuel the flames of freedom with their focus. Light leaders fuel the flames of freedom with their focus. It's really such a powerful role that we are divinely designed to embrace. And it is the most authentic, pure role that we can, really claim for ourselves. We're here to fuel the flames of divine enlightenment, to experience a new earth paradise. And that involves refining our relationships to reflect pure, potent, divine consciousness. And enlightenment is just embodying our essence. It is energetic empowerment that is realized when we embrace and embody our essence. And that's what we're here to do as New Earth Light Leaders, New Earth Consciousness Crusaders. This is a monumental mission that we confidently and courageously committed to when we decided to come to this planet at this time. At this powerful shift, time of a powerful shift in consciousness that is available to each and every one of us, to each and every one of the beings who choose to realize that opportunity and claim it. And so the more we commit to this, the more our connections and relationships organically evolve to reflect those upgraded states of awareness and consciousness. And claiming and committing, and I mentioned this before, but it feels important to repeat, the integration and the purposeful participation of these new innovative ways of being, sharing, connecting, and relating is a gift that we give ourselves. It's a gift we give to all souls on this evolutionary journey. It's a gift we give to the family of humanity. We're literally creating new soulful structures for New Earth, a new foundation, soulful structures that shine the light on our sovereignty. And this is realized with the purposeful projection and expression of seeing the sacredness in one and all, in one another and in everything. That is how we create the foundational structures for New Earth and for unity consciousness. And as we commit to clearing out the consciousness clutter, clearing out the consciousness clutter and create space for the embodiment of these more expanded states of awareness, more expanded frequencies and energies, we serve as the purposeful pioneers we came here to be for this planet. Illuminating the highest potentials and possibilities for everyone. And another element of condition-free connections, 5D relationships that is arising in my consciousness in this moment to speak on is about reliance on others. This goes hand in hand with being condition-free, demand-free in our relationships. When we cultivate reliance upon our personal connection with the divine, we can gently release any reliance that we have on others in our relationships. Allowing ourselves to receive love and support is certainly a beautiful thing, and we are intended to experience that. But when that becomes more of an attachment or a reliance or an obligation that is required of others, we actually step out of the fluidity of 5D Earth, 5D connections, which doesn't require any of those elements to thrive. So realizing responsibility, which is simply remembering that we are able to respond. That's what responsibility is. We are able to respond in our relationships with reverence, not reliance. So we are here to realize responsibility, which is remembering that we're able to respond in our relationship with reverence. What a gift, not reliance. So again, I want to highlight that doesn't mean that we're not supposed to receive love, receive support, all of that. Like I said, it's when that becomes more of an attachment or an obligation, a demand required of others, that we're stepping out of the fluidity available in 5D connections. Dependency on one another is what leads to stagnation. Dependency leads to stagnation, and there is no room for stagnation on 5D Earth. That's just, it is very fluid. It's very, that's how we thrive with this fluidity. So anytime we've reached a point of dependence on one another or on someone else for our happiness, we have stepped out of our roles as conscious creators. And I know I use that phrase often because I want that to really anchor into your consciousness, that you can be a consciousness creator, cultivating personal empowerment on a daily basis, because that is a really crucial component for 5D living, for liberating yourself. That allows any patterns of dependency that are coupled with obligations, conditions, or external reliance on others to naturally fall away, because we recognize, we realize, we remember that we're actually here to claim our sovereignty, to remember our connection to our divinity. Remember that we've never been separated from the divine, and that we always have everything that we need within us to not only survive, which is a program of 5D reality, and that just makes people miserable. We're here to thrive. 5D consciousness is about thriving, not surviving. We have everything that we need to thrive as souls without requiring or demanding anything of anyone else. And isn't that liberation, right? Now is the time to raise your readiness to realize a revival of your radiance. It's time to raise your readiness to realize a revival of your radiance. Really reflect on the potential of this renewal for yourself. Reap the rewards of this renewal and this revival and this reunion of your radiance, and realize that this is the key to the kingdom. The key to the kingdom of your self-created heaven on earth paradise. And you deserve that. The sacred union, or the reunion with your soul. That is really the purposeful partnership that we're here to cultivate and establish and celebrate. And then every other connection and relationship will reflect the purity of that sacred union with our soul and our divinity. And so As we begin to wrap up, I want to do what I've been doing at the end of every show because this is a unity community. I want to invite each and every one of you to envision joining hands and hearts with every single soul in this sacred circle. Envision this, feel this, set the pure intention to radiate love, to radiate kindness. And to bless every heart and to bless every soul on the planet. Radiate that love, feel the waves uniting and blessing us all. Let's embrace the power, the potent power of this unity community to bless all members and all beings on the planet. This purposeful practice will produce infinite blessings for all of us. So thank you for participating in that. And I want to thank you for being here and for showing up, for playing and participating and giving this community the gift of your light and your presence. Remember that our self-transformation is the greatest gift we have to give as souls on this planet. Let's give the gift of transformation and commit to our own personal ascension and consciousness. I want to wish you an absolutely empowering week. Remember to join me for my Straight Talk for the Soul series. We are in the flow of season 23. I would love to share that time and space with you and then come back live with you here in this sacred space next Thursday and every Thursday at 12 noon Pacific. You can find the information, ways to listen, replays, and more at carriemurphy.com or straighttalkforthesoul.com. And until next time, remember to put the light in your enlightenment. Remember that laughter leads to liberation, dancing delights the divine, playfulness propels you into your purpose. So laugh, dance, smile, flow, soar, play, and just take flight, beautiful beacons of light. I'll see you back here all lit up and ready to play again next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Carrie Murphy Show. Ignite the light of your soul. Carrie honors and celebrates you for being a part of this powerful unity community of souls from all corners of the globe. It is Carrie's greatest wish that you feel at home in this intentionally created sacred space and soulful sanctuary. Visit Carrie at carriemurphy.com as well as straighttalkforthesoul.com to gain access to all of Carrie's offerings. And we look forward to seeing you back here in this playground of light next week.